Thanks for joining us tonight. We begin with updates on legality of the antigraft bodies as the Supreme Court today adjourned to deliver judgment in a suit filed by 13 states against the federal government, challenging the constitutionality of the laws establishing the EFCC, ICPC, and another. Justice Uwani Abaji says a date for judgment will be communicated to parties when it is ready. Celestina Area reports.
The suit was originally filed by Oyo State. 15 other states were allowed by the court as co-plaintiffs in the suit after the filed application for joinder. At the resumed sitting, Anambra, Adamawa, and Ebonyi states withdrew from the case, making it 13 states as plaintiff, while Imo, Bauchi, Osun, Ogun, and Taraba State filed similar application challenging the establishment of the EFCC. Counsel to Kogi State, Abdul Wahab Mohammed, in arguing his originating motion, told the court that it was the United Nations Convention Against Corruption that became the EFCC Act. The convention was not ratified by the state houses of assembly. He pointed out that the Supreme Court in Joseph Obabeke versus the Federal Republic of Nigeria had held that it was the United Nations Convention Against Corruption that was reduced into the EFCC Establishment Act, and that in enacting this law in 2004, the provisions of Section 12 of the Constitution as amended was not followed. In his preliminary objection, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, argued that Section 15, subsection 5 of the Constitution should take precedence. There is a common agency for both the federal and subnational when it comes to the issue of corruption. Justice Abaji, who led the 7-member panel, held that judgment in the suit will apply to that filed by Imo, Taraba, Ogun, and Bauchi states.
The case for Nasarawa State is completely different from that which Kogi and other states are before the Supreme Court. Nasarawa State is happy with the establishment of the EFCC, ICPC, and NFIU. But our own case is challenging the constitutionality of the directive issued by the NFIU, limiting cash withdrawal for states, knowing fully well that in Nasarawa State we have a social investment policy.
The key chapters of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption are preventive measures, criminalization and law enforcement, international cooperation, and assets recovery. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.
Now to some security stories. The Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaru, is restating the federal government's commitment to resolving the causes of violent clashes between farmers and herders across communities in Plateau State. Mr. Badaru says the president is worried and concerned over pockets of attacks in the state. Senior reporter Funam Joshua has more.
Putting an end to the challenge of insecurity bedeviling some communities in Plateau State is a task the federal government says it will see to the end. So many lives and properties have been lost due to insecurity despite efforts to tackle the menace in the state. The Minister of Defense is engaging critical stakeholders in the state in a move to restoring peace and normalcy across crisis communities in the state. At the headquarters of the 3rd Division of the Nigerian Army in Jos, the venue of the meeting, the minister says the president is committed to restoring peace and normalcy to all troubled communities in the state.
You see, the Plateau crisis is different from the other crises being faced by other states. Here, we have mostly farmers-herders crisis, conflicts between communities and others, and that needs serious community engagements to tackle. And I believe the GOC has been doing wonderfully well in that direction, and we only have to encourage them to do more and to talk more to the community so that they will see reason to really share their swords, and let peace reign in the plateau.
Letting go of all grievances and promoting peaceful cohabitation, irrespective of tribe, religion, or ethnicity, is a takeaway for participants at the event. From Joshua, TVC News, Rukuba Cantonment.
Elsewhere, the House of Representatives has summoned the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, Director General, Department of State Services, and the Commissioner of Police in the FCT over rising insecurity in the nation's capital. Members are also seeking to probe the use of unregistered and unpaid taxes in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
On the 27th of September 2023, a viral video showed a community developer and member Young African Leaders Initiative Network, Greatness Olorunfemi, by the roadside along the Maitama-Kubwa Expressway in Abuja. She was said to have been pushed out of a vehicle by a suspected criminal gang, which disguised as commercial drivers, popularly called One Chance. Statistics shows that at least 12 persons were reportedly killed and 139 others abducted when bandits and robbers attacked some communities between April and September 2023. Reports say the criminal act led to the payment of more than 126 million naira as ransom. The authorities swung into action, bringing down the rate of attacks. Now, there is a resurgence of One Chance in the FCT.
Permit me to seek the leave of the House to suspend.
Last Thursday, one Ms. Nima Sulaiman, a legislative aide in the National Assembly, was kidnapped at gunpoint in Wuse area of Abuja at about 6 p.m. 4 hours later, and after collecting over 1 million naira as ransom from her family members and boss, the kidnappers, who disguised as commercial drivers, stabbed the victims before dumping her on the roadside. She died at about 10 p.m.
That this heinous crime has sent shockwaves through our community, confirming the escalating insecurity in the FCT. It is our collective responsibility as lawmakers to ensure the safety and security of our citizens.
Lawmakers are seeking an end to alleged killing of youths in some parts of Anambra State.
The House resolves to urge the Nigerian Police and Directorate of State Services, DSS, to investigate the killings and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book.
No doubt, the nation's capital has seen an uprise in the rate of kidnapping and robbery incidents, but lawmakers are seeking to put an end to this crime. By the prayers of the motion, the House committees on FCT, police, as well as national security and intelligence are mandated to spring into action, interface with all relevant personalities and agencies to bring an end to killing and robbery of innocent persons in the nation's capital. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
And the House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill to create new Oyo State out of the present Oyo State. But this is on a day the Parliament calls on the federal government to immediately renew the nation's 2 orbital slots granted the country by the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, so as to prevent the loss of $400 million. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa again reports.
The 6th alteration to the 1999 Constitution as amended is gathering momentum. At the day's plenary, more bills are referred to the Special Committee on Constitution Review, chaired by the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu. One of them is sponsored by 7 members. On behalf of the sponsors, Oyo legislator Akim Adeyemi canvasses the creation of new Oyo State.
To create new Oyo State with Oyo Town as the capital city from Oyo State, effect consequential change of the name of the remaining part of Oyo State to Ibadan State with Ibadan City as the capital city, and define for local government areas comprising the 2 states and for related matters.
The House wants Nigeria to prevent the loss of $400 million as it calls on the federal government to renew the nation's 2 orbital slots granted by the ITU. ITU granted Nigeria 3 orbital slots for satellite placement in geostationary orbit. The slots are vital for telecommunication, broadcasting, weather monitoring, and national defense purposes.
Presently, just one of these slots is utilized through NIGECOMSAT-1, leaving the other 2 vulnerable to reassignment if left unused by the deadline of December 6, 2024.
Lawmakers are proposing an additional $3 billion for lending to improve the agricultural value chain through the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NASAL. They urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to increase agricultural lending by banks from 1.4% to 7% of total lending within the next 5 years to address the challenge of food insecurity.
The ailing economy of Nigeria, severe impoverishment across the nation, as well as the increase in hunger due to decreased agricultural productivity triggered by low capital investment and insufficient funding of agricultural production.
The CBN recently inaugurated a new board and management for NERSA, and I think this is a very, very timely motion to be able to give them guidance on how to be able to fulfill their mandate. As we know, food security is very important.
They advocate for 50% of lending to smallholder farmers through the microfinance institutions, farmers cooperatives, and value chain commodity association. Jokeyadsa, TVC News, Abuja.